All right. We should be live for a special Sunday stream. Out of left field. Out of nowhere. Coming live to you right now. Out of left field. Yup, out of left field. Hearing myself twice. Good to go. Stream is ready to roll on YouTube. And we should be good on Kick and Rumble as well. Okay, cool. Very cool indeed. We have a highly interesting live stream here, a Timcast live stream with Milo Yiannopoulos. Figured I would cover a little bit of that and maybe end off the stream with a Moose on the Loose video, because why not? And other than that, that's going to be today's special little stream. So we're going to hop right into it. This Tim Pool Milo cast here, or stream, or whatever you want to call it. It's a bit of a wild one. Some very wild takes. Doesn't really shock me. We're talking about Milo Yiannopoulos here. So let's see what he has to say.
That was surprising to me that you're kind of getting like anti-Cantus pro Fuentes. That was unusual.
I don't think I tweet anything like that.
Not you, but one of the
the news account or something.
Yeah.
That's up to them.
It's a news account, and it's per Nick Fuentes. I mean,
no, but it was like a argumentative.
I mean, look, a broken clock's right twice a day. I mean, even the most vile clock.
Of broken clocks, in his case, the L is silent because he's got a Lilliputian fishhook, which I've never. I mean, if you.
How many people get that reference?
Well, so
no one in Candace's audience, I'd imagine.
She has a book club. Do you? No, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to like. I really don't want to do this with you because I love you so much. But
wait. What's the problem with not having a book club?
Because he's implying she's like stupid and ignorant, and her audience is stupid and ignorant.
No, that's not what he was implying. He was implying they're Gen Z.
No, but like, does her? Well, that's not.
I think you missed the mark.
That's just wrong. To be fair, he's been extremely complimentary about her intelligence.
I was giving.
She's very intelligent. She's just applying it in a complete wrong
I was giving
fashion.
the benefit of the doubt that he would know what her audience demographics are, because they're not that.
No, I was saying her audience is stupid.
Yes, I know, but if
So just to give a little bit of background here, this cast or this stream dives directly into the Candace Owens stuff. I guess she's going a little bit off the rails. I don't entirely know. I don't follow her channel, nor do I really care about what she says, but apparently she's making some crazy claims about Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, and all of these allegations are coming out, and she's alleging all these theories. And this stream starts off a bit goofy, but then it gets pretty wacky pretty fast.
If their audience was stupid, why would she have like a riotously successful book club about reading, where people pay to read books alongside her?
What kind of people are in book clubs?
And it's about, well, I don't. Okay,
That's a real question, by the way.
That's a real question. I don't know. What?
Well, the people who buy books are typically women. Yes, but about her audience.
I've never met a woman that was smarter than I. You know?
Let me phrase it this way.
All of them.
Let me phrase it this way. Candace's audience, I don't think it would shock anybody to learn, and this is me speculation, it's not insider knowledge, but I know that I'm right, is skewing more female over time because of the way she tells stories and the subjects that she's interested in.
Fake stuff.
Not fake stuff.
Okay, sensational.
She's
extremely sensational without any backing, without any proof.
I don't think it's
opinions, research, no real research.
I don't think it's disrespectful to say.
And I don't dislike Candace, by the way. And people are going to attack me for saying that. George, shut the fuck up. You went to prison. But that doesn't justify that what she's doing is crazy.
Well, I'm actually.
I think she's very intelligent, and she's using her intelligence in the wrong way.
I'm of the view that somebody with your background is best placed to talk about whether somebody is being dishonest in public. Actually, so
okay, great. I think she's being.
Discount you for that.
I think she's being increasingly dishonest.
But
increasingly is an understatement.
I'm speculating here. I don't have insider knowledge, but I know that I'm right about this. Her audience is beginning to skew female.
You don't know that you're right.
I know that.
Her audience does skew female. It's very female coded.
So is mine.
But it's not. But so
is mine. My like 63% of my audience on X alone is all women.
Having done 2 episodes with her and kind of, he will know that you can. There are signs and signals that you can kind of intuit and be mostly on the money from outside, and not you'd not be too far off if you've done something like this before. So women typically buy books. Men don't really read.
That's
Men don't
true.
really buy books. So I sold an enormous volume of books in 2017.
Milo, right?
And 4/5 of them were to women. And many of those purchases were going to the sons or going to the sons afterwards. But 4/5 of them were to women. And it wasn't to girls with Nazi boyfriends. It was to, let's say, MAGA moms or like older or midlife. So I don't think it's disrespectful to say about Candace Owens that there's a true crime dimension to the flavor, the style that she does things, right?
Yes, that's
and women, and I don't know if
love it.
I don't know if you know this because you're married. But
that doesn't make what she's saying.
You don't know this. I don't know if you've ever met a woman.
I was married to a woman before you even thought you were pretending to be straight.
Forgive me for having questions about what you claimed before you went away. So I just think that if you know women, you understand that they are like obsessed with serial killers and true crime. Of course, like, those are the big things.
Soap opera drama where she talks about like how she colors up.
Stop it.
And that's exactly how she's building her podcast.
Charlie said I'm a time traveler.
Every episode is a new soap opera.
But it is ludicrous in the extreme to say that when she says, Charlie said I'm a time traveler, you know, and she knows, and I know, and you know that that's a metaphor.
Of course.
Right. So what's weird about it?
Nothing. Point that I made
is he saying she's insightful and perceptive, and she seems to be able to tell what's coming because
so let me answer.
Especially for a woman,
I'll answer.
Especially for a woman, she has a great pattern matching brain.
So I'll answer this. When I brought that up, my point is she is doing a soap opera where she is triggering the emotions of women. It's female coded. I didn't say it was wrong. I didn't say it was morally wrong. I said this is a show for women.
It's intentional. You absolutely have said it's morally wrong.
No.
Milo absolutely have said that her behavior is morally wrong.
What I have said is
like that's obviously the impression you've left, but you've said
what
a
I
very
have
strong
said is
statement.
specific about how she is telling people to pull their funding from Turning Point.
Yeah,
and she's destroying the coalition. Democrats are going to win in the midterms because of what she is doing.
Who cares?
And she said,
"No, I care."
Is anybody in this room still on Team Epstein? Because I'm not.
Wait, I don't think there's
sorry.
a
I am terribly
solution.
sorry. I am not on Team Epstein. I don't care.
Is anybody in this room still on Team Republican congressman isn't Trump. It's the midterms. It's not Trump.
How does your local Republican congressman affect your life? He doesn't.
He does.
I actually would prefer it not if the Democrats win the midterms and then start committees and then start arresting media personalities and doing what they did
impeaching Trump.
We knew that when we elected the guy. We knew that was coming. It's either coming now or it's coming in 2 years or it's coming in 4 years. I mean, what's your point?
It doesn't have to come.
Just not now.
No, it doesn't have to come if we stop this self-inflicted.
Oh yeah, sure.
Wounds.
No, they'll never.
These are self-inflicted.
You're absolutely right. There'll never be another Democrat president, so that's never going to happen.
I'm not saying that, Milo. I'm not saying that.
That was baked in when
we don't have to forego the entirety of Congress to the Democrats only so that they can spend the next 2 years after the midterms
because they're so effective and useful, and they're doing all these great things for America. And I mean, really,
they're not.
If you look,
trust me, I was one of them. They're not.
If you look at I mean, this is the greatest of respect because I like you personally, but you're the kind of person that gets elected to Congress. Like, stop it. Like, stop pretending these are people that we need. You know,
I think
you managed.
But I'm the first one to say that,
and that's why you're on a path to redemption that has saved you, and that means that
I'm the first one to say that it's a circus.
It means that I want to be a friend, and now Marjorie has joined you in that very bravely. I think it's a great shame, but I get it.
It's a great loss in my opinion.
It is a loss, and I get it. But prior to you two, I mean, you could get elected just inventing a story about yourself, a backstory about yourself that nobody even bothers checking. If they do, the voters don't care. That's what Congress is.
But
and that's why it works with Candace Owens' stories, because she's just fabricating stories and it works.
Not you, not you as well.
I'm sorry. It's just that
at two, Naomi.
I'm sorry. In the beginning, I would have totally defended her and asked her questions, but at this point, I feel like she's attacking the family of Charlie Kirk.
It's like
attacking his entire legacy.
I'm sorry. Like
every opportunity that comes up every year, I just desperately beg for a reason to go live in a van down by the river. I'm getting inundated with messages from prominent conservative personalities thanking me for calling her out, but are too scared.
They're being paid.
They're too scared to say
to post.
They're not. No,
they're privately.
They're being paid.
People are privately messaging me.
Sorry, are you saying that people are never paid to stay quiet?
What, do you think people are being paid to stay quiet?
Yes, because of course they are. Because I mean, there are all kinds of reasons why you want someone.
You think Candace is paying them off so they don't?
No, I don't mean Candace. I mean the other side. If you know somebody's going to be counterproductive to your mission, you pay them to shut up. Everybody who has run a school board election knows that.
Wait, hold on.
Because some people's
Democrats are paying conservatives not to.
No, I'm talking about conservatives or people at Turning Point may well look. Anybody who's run a school board election knows that there are certain people whose endorsement is damaging.
So Explain what's going on. Like,
so
there's conservatives who are thanking me for calling out candidates who won't do it themselves. Someone's paying them.
I'm not saying all of them, but in many cases, in many cases.
I mean, sincerely, who do you think who would be paying them?
Okay. So
Milo, who's paying them?
If you put it this way,
Milo, you're spinning. No, you're spinning.
No, I'm going to give an answer.
Spinning.
I'm going to give an answer.
I'm
going to. I think entities associated with or possibly
name names
directly, probably Turning Point.
No.
Because they are losing the war against Candace. They're losing.
So why would
they're paying people?
to not?
That's what Turning Point does. That's what it is.
Wait, hold on.
That's what it is.
Okay, wait, hold on. Wouldn't Turning Point pay people to call out Candace?
That's what. No, because if you know that a particular person is going to be counterproductive. Listen, when Nick Fuentes wanted to damage Trump in the last election, I said there's only one way you can damage Trump: endorse him. It's the only way you can damage him, right? When you know that somebody's endorsement is counterproductive to your cause, of course you might pay them to shut up. And it happens all the time. I've done it. I've done it in congressional campaigns. I've done it in 2 national congressional.
Wait. So prominent.
Hold on for a sec. Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe some people's endorsements could be damaging. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. I just think back to when Trump endorsed Mark Carney during the election, and that didn't damage his anything at that point. Not a single thing. People still voted for him, even after Trump endorsed him. So, I have no idea. I mean, maybe in some cases, sure. Mark Carney ran an entire election saying that Trump was going to annex Canada, and then Trump endorsed him, and Carney still won. So I don't know. You think that would have been more damaging in that case, but I guess not, right? Like, I guess it's a case-by-case basis.
Prominent conservative personalities
are paid to shut up.
But these are mainstream, normal, prominent people.
Oh, come on.
To look,
to
this point,
like,
I'll mention this. I'll give a shout out to House and Habit, who shouted me out too. But I don't want to call out anyone by name who's quietly saying I'm not going to say anything.
House and Habit, who, by the way, I'm catching strays from this like crazy old bitch now as well, who's like, just very personal, very physical comments, like I can look a bit crazy in interviews right now because I have a lot of health problems, which causes various things. But like, she's a nasty, vindictive, personal bitch, and she, or at least let me rephrase that and say that her behavior has been that lately. Because
who is this person that you're like so concerned?
She's kind of emerging. She had 60, 70,000 follower, kind of like on the up and up, right? But isn't that interesting in itself? Like, what was her blog about? What was her blog about?
It's like women's gossip drama stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So
you just proved our point about Candace.
Not the kind of person that you would expect to. Anyway, my point is this. I've done it in two congressional campaigns. There are people who you just don't want to endorse your candidate.
Look, there's
because
truth
it's
to that. There's truth to that.
Thank you for saying that.
Look, I'm not.
You know that.
I know because I've been asked to stay out of races.
You've been the guy that's been asked not to talk.
Yes, and that's very true. There is,
and I'm not.
I have a question.
I'm not accusing you of ever being paid not to talk.
Milo,
I've never been paid. I wish I was.
And I won't ask you.
I have a question. I have a question.
It's mink.
What is what you're wearing?
It's mink.
Oh, the hat.
Yeah.
So right now I'm looking at two things.
All right.
Whatever. Let's step outside of the Candace thing.
That definitely raises some questions about if Milo did switch teams there. He's talking about his hat. I don't know about that one.
A little bit, and be a little bit more broad. I have an opinion that the political fight we are facing defeat, and
we won everything
in the midterms.
We won everything.
Yes, and we're about to lose everything.
And we've got hold on. Let me just get through this. Right, because we're looking at retirements.
It's been a decade of winning.
So the midterms are coming up, and Trump has got several marginal victories. Some of these things are not getting through, but let me just. I see prominent conservative personalities are refusing to speak out for what they claim they believe. They're thanking me for speaking out.
But you're sticking up for these guys when I'm saying is that they're normal political operatives. You're saying that they're spineless cowards.
Indeed. Right.
Well, then.
Okay, I'll take.
They're even worse people.
So the question for me is.
I prefer they were getting paid.
The question for me is.
The Brandon Tatum who keeps saying I'm not getting paid by Israel. Well, then you're an idiot.
I never got paid by Israel either.
My question is, Milo, what is my reason for being involved in any of this at all? Honest question.
Because this is what you do for a living, and because where the center of gravity is. Ideologically and commercially too, it affects your business, affects your life, affects your children, affects your wife, affects everything about you. Why wouldn't you be interested? It'd be weird if you weren't.
No. Why would I?
Silly question.
Why should I be this person? Why don't I
Why
work?
do you have the opinions you have? Why do you have the position you have?
No. How about I just go work behind the scenes at a PAC or a media company and just
because the function you're performing is valuable and in fact, in my view, essential. Because this is one of the shows that has such a broad guest base, almost utterly unique in media. The only thing that really comes close is Real Time, and they have that because of the HBO prestige, glitz, glam, and everything. And they can get. Although a lot of conservatives won't go on it. They do come here though, and you have maybe the widest, most varied, and most interesting and distinctive guest base in all of politics. Of course, it's in your interest to. I'm not saying you're doing this, by the way, because I wouldn't accuse you of that, because I don't believe that about you. I don't think you're that kind of person. But it would be in your interest to be anti-Candace.
I don't think so. Actually, I think it's
in everyone's commercial. It's in everyone's commercial interest to be anti-Candace because everybody else is going down and hers are going up. It's that simple.
I don't think so. I think it's you're wrong because the base seems to be siding with Candace. So it'd be counterproductive.
No, I actually think criticizing Candace has hurt our viewership.
That's my point.
We actually got cancellations on orders. My morning show subscribers have gone down. I've lost 3,000 followers on X. I hate
Shouldn't
politics.
you join the winning side?
No, I'd rather just go live in a van down by the river.
Isn't that bad though? It's like, if I don't win, I'm out of here. I'm out of this.
No. It's more like
come on.
I think what he's trying to tell you is not willing to sacrifice his principle because
sound like
it's winning. No, seriously, just listen to what he's saying.
I'm listening to what he's saying, and it sounds like he's being affected by these cowards he's talking to.
And he's sticking to his guns. I think that's admirable.
You're not that, but
there's a big picture, and the big picture is this: there is a loose coalition on the right of various ideologies that came together because there was a unified there was an enemy in wokeness, in insanity that was destructive. It's largely been routed. The right's now ripping each other apart. And
don't you think it's necessary in light of what Trump has been doing in the White House? The fact that he is
indeed
he is once again the president of Jerusalem and not the president of the United States.
Oh, come on!
That he is once again. I don't want to hear this from you. That he is once again releasing Jewish fraudsters who ripped off poor people and specifically in the executive orders saying they don't have to pay the fines back, so they don't have to pay back their victims.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
But I'm saying, like, isn't it maybe a good thing that when it doesn't matter so much in a midterm versus when it matters a lot in a presidential election, that the right gets its you know what together, and that people have the opportunity to say, maybe some of it was Candace, but maybe most of it was Trump. The fact that the midterms were an underperformance, and have the opportunity to say some of it, because some of it is what Donald Trump is doing.
I completely agree.
When Donald Trump,
I disagree.
I agree that Donald Trump is dropping the ball.
Yes, when Donald Trump said, if you are, and I think I know why this is, because I think that Trump was probably a confidential informant for against Jeffrey Epstein back in the day.
I agree with that. Yes.
I think he probably helped the FBI take Epstein down the first time. That's the only explanation I can see.
Based on what?
Mike Johnson said it.
It's the only.
Mike Johnson said it.
What did Mike Johnson say?
What did Mike Johnson say? I missed it.
And then he walked it back the next day saying, "Oh, I misspoke."
I couldn't hear a word. What?
Mike Johnson was asked a question at a press gaggle, and he said something to the effect of, that's why Donald Trump kicked Epstein out of his club. That's why he was an informant to the FBI.
No, he's explicit. He said Trump was an informant.
I know. And that's why I said he was an informant to the FBI.
Forgive me, sorry.
Yeah, he was saying this chain of thought.
Oh, I missed that.
And everyone went, "Holy sh!"
And then he rolled it back.
And the next day he said, "No, I didn't mean it."
I misspoke. But in addition to that, and I think more importantly and more persuasively, because people do misspeak all the time, some of the awkwardness.
Not Mike Johnson.
Sorry,
not Mike Johnson.
Well, I mean,
very intentional. I know the man fairly well.
So maybe it is a powerful, more powerful than I think. But when Trump seized up in panic, because that's what happened over the subject of Epstein.
No, he didn't.
There's a limited number of explanations for that, where he kept making.
I agree with Milo.
He kept making very, very obvious missteps designed to piss off everyone who loves him most, like Marjorie, like me, everybody who loves him most. People who, and I'm not saying that I put him in office twice, but I did the first time. I did help. I was a big component in the first time. But a lot of people who put him in office were like, what? Because Jeffrey Epstein, as Bannon has said, and who would know better than him, it turns out.
You're going to quote Bannon, who consulted for Epstein?
I just said who would know better than him, as it turns out.
I just want to make that very clear for anybody listening.
I just said who would know better, as it turns out. He said that Epstein was the key that picks the lock, right? Of all of the kinds of things that people are asking, like, what is going on here? Why is this like this? And why is it? Epstein was one of the central ideological planks of MAGA teleology. Like, why does the world work like it does? Why do things look weird? Why do those people keep getting away with it and those people keep not getting away with it? Jeffrey Epstein was considered by everybody who voted for Donald Trump as a central pillar of understanding that we would unlock, and it would be like a code where bits of the universe would get like decoded for us. Like, oh my goodness, it's because of that judge. It's because of that. Everybody had that expectation, and there isn't one person who voted for Donald Trump who did not want and did not expect the Epstein files to be released immediately, in full, unredacted.
I did not have that expectation. I did not vote for Trump.
Okay, fine.
For
Everybody
that.
except George, of course.
No, that's not
Of
true.
course.
There's so many people. I voted for Trump for many other reasons other than that.
And stop.
I feel like not a good majority of people, but at least a solid portion voted Trump back into office with the idea that he would drop the files, right? That there would be this big list of people, because there was a huge outrage over that when it initially was happening months ago. Everybody wanted the files to be released. There's all this drama. Things are cooking up. Trump is ignoring it, saying it's a hoax, this, that, and the fourth, pushing reporters away from talking about it. Yeah, there was definitely some infighting there based on that in the voter base, you could say. And trust me, I was watching a lot of it. There was a lot of infighting. People were pretty pissed about it. Some Trump supporters, Democrats, everybody who just wanted to see who was involved. But yeah, I don't know. A bunch of pages have been released now, and I don't think anybody is ever going to be happy, right? They could release another 20,000, 30,000 pages, and people would still complain about it at the end of the day. I don't even know how many pages total have been released, but it's tens, 20, 30 plus thousand. Like, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of pages have been released. So, I don't know. It's funny. One week, everybody's up in arms about it. They release more pages, and then everybody shuts up. It's not a thing in the mainstream anymore, right? Everybody briefly forgets about it. And then, I don't know, a couple months from now, it'll be brought up again. The Epstein files, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll release more pages, and then everybody will forget about it for a short period of time. It's already happened twice this year. People were all up in arms. They released files. Everybody quiet. Everybody shut up about it. And then literally a month or so ago, rinse and repeat. Same thing over and over. And it's like, I don't think we're ever going to get the truth on this situation. If you want my honest opinion, they can release all these pages. I don't think we're ever going to get the solid truth. But whatever.
Stop it. Grow up.
You think that puts food on the table?
Grow up.
Oh, come on.
It's about egg prices. Stop it.
Come on.
The part of the reason that Trump was elected in 2016 was that Hillary Clinton was emblematic of the way that the world was going wrong. The secret elite collusion, Epstein, it was all linked. And people who voted for him the first time and people who voted for him every time since, you can't find me someone apart from George, apparently, who did not want to see the Epstein files.
Let me ask you.
And I promise I'll wrap up and let someone else go. But when he said, there's no Epstein files, and then the Democrats made it up, and then stop asking, and then if you're asking, you're not a fan of mine, and then if you're asking, I don't want you.
I agree with all of this.
That is the moment Trumpism died.
I agree.
And don't we need a reckoning? And if that reckoning comes through the obviously, I promise I'm nearly done, the obviously inadequate account from the feds and Turning Point about what happened around, before, and after Charlie Kirk's death, where his ride or die homegirl is asking questions that have exposed some inconsistencies and some questions, and which seem to point to a different etiology for the crime than the one that we're being told. And when everybody from Turning Point looks so sinister, suspicious, and guilty all the time, and they're losing to her. Respect the public on that at least. They're losing to her, and they have every reason to be winning. So she has every reason. Isn't it smart for us to have that reckoning in the Republican Party right now?
So let me ask you. You said you praised me for the Jack Dorsey thing that I did when I sat down with Jack Dorsey on Rogan. What do you view my motivation as for sitting down and challenging them on these things?
I think that you are a man of good character. And I think that you are compelled. I see in your journalism, I've seen it when you were out and about more when we first met, like back in the day. And I see it now in here. I see I'm going to blow smoke up here. There's a reason I like you. I mean, you've been very good to me, but there's also other reasons I like you. I think that you are. I think that you are seized by injustice sometimes, and you just like you get visibly angry about people who tell lies or who are hypocritical or withhold information from the public that's critical. I don't believe you got it right in the case of Candace, my friend. I don't. But that clear and ferocious motivation you may have others. Maybe that wasn't the right answer, but it's definitely
It is the right answer. I respect that answer.
Okay. It's definitely. I think it's your primary motivation, and that primary motivation marks you out as a man of good character. I just think you got it wrong on this one thing. Is that okay?
Sure. And okay. so I'll give you my thoughts. I feel like my principal motivation for everything is not even political. It is
I agree with you.
What is true and what is not.
Yeah, I believe you.
So
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah, the liquid death thing was. He lied about plastic.
Yes, he did. And when you cut this thing open, it's because I didn't get to say it earlier because I was talking too much, which I still am. When
plastic.
When you cut this thing open, it's a plastic bag,
and it says death to plastic on it.
And not just that, but they said that profits go to help kill plastic pollution. That's interesting, lawyered wording that wasn't on the cans originally, isn't it? Stop.
So the issue that I see.
That's why you should drink pool water. Pool water is 100% artesian water. I don't know what artesian is, but it's on a lot of expensive stuff, so you should buy this.
So Candace tweeted out that you should not donate to this godforsaken organization.
They've got 500
million.
They've got 500 million in the bank. They don't need any more money, especially not to lie to Americans.
Sorry,
I shouldn't.
But they offered to speak with her. And she said that she didn't.
Yeah, but listen. But they lost that too. They lost that, and we.
No, they called her bluff, and she.
No, we've got mutual friends, and I'll tell you who they are after the show. And I'm sincerely sorry I can't do it. I know that I have to do this sometimes because you, like me, know a lot of people, and you just can't say everything you know. You can't. You can't because it blows up friendships and things that really matter later.
Well, I end up saying everything anyway, and
yeah, me too. But I'm not doing it now. But we have friends in common, and I'll tell you who they are. Two of them who are Turning Point people who are tight with Turning Point, who told them they're losing and they're getting it wrong, and that's what I think too. She's winning. She's obviously winning.
Yes, and you're totally correct on the political dimension. But the question at the end is, why did somebody or whoever is behind it murder Charlie Kirk? And that's what we should actually get to the bottom. I'm totally fine with asking questions.
I do
but at
not.
This point, I feel like Candace is just making up stories out of the.
She is. I'm not saying.
I think it's just. I'm not going to say
because I'm not going to say because I don't know that Candace has arrived at the right answer today, or that she will do in a month. But I can tell you this.
She's not even trying. That's the issue that I have.
That I don't agree with. Look, Candace is the one person in public life, because it was not Erica, who has exhibited genuine heartbreak and grief over.
Okay, hold on. Time out.
I can't tell you another person.
You cannot be the judge of that. That is not fair to Erica.
Well, I did appoint myself the judge of it, and everybody agrees.
But you can't be the judge of that. You can't talk about grieving. No, Milo, you're wrong. I love you. No, but you're judging,
and they have
judging a widow's grief.
Hold on, I have a question.
No,
it's an honest question. Has Candace cried on camera at any of these shows? It's an honest question. I mean,
I don't watch.
It's a flippant and silly answer, but I know that she has cried a lot. I know that because
I'm not denying they were great friends.
I'll tell you what I think.
She is. It is certainly true that in recent years there was a drifting of Turning Point and Candace, and perhaps something of a drifting between between Charlie and Candace. Maybe it was the pressure from his donors that we now know he was speaking about later, just before his death, saying that was the reason that was pushing him anti-Israel. Maybe he was initially convinced to distance himself from Candace as a result of the pressure we know for a fact because they confirmed it.
So I'm going to give you a hard example.
There was a little bit of a drift, but I'm going to give you a hard example. She is the only ride or die homegirl for that man, and she is the only person who ever has been.
I'm going to give you a specific example from her show.
Yeah.
She highlighted claims that Turning Point was committing fraud. And these claims were, there were a few.
This was about the tax something, right?
Right, and it's all lies. The tax form thing is all lies and manipulations.
But when you say lies,
and let me, yes, absolute lies. The man behind these videos claims to be an accountant. Okay, so either he's lying about being an accountant or he's lying to you. He said the tax forms were missing, as if to imply they did not file or they should have.
How they had not filed yet, or they missed the deadline.
In fact, he even mentions, I'm pretty sure in his video, the October deadline.
Isn't
which
it true
the 15th.
that they filed on the day?
I don't know exactly.
And isn't it true that when he said that they hadn't filed yet?
No.
Was there a way for him to know they had filed? Because there is an enormous gap between when you file your taxes and when it shows up on the IRS website.
Indeed, which means they could have filed it in May.
So in order to say that it is a lie, what you have to do is.
Oh, no, I'm not done. How about you let me finish?
Sorry.
Yes.
You're right.
Right. So in his latest video, He claims that the new filings, which, quote, mysteriously appeared, which they literally didn't. I mean, it's framing. He says that $1.4 million was paid by Turning Point over 3 years to a parking lot. In fact, that's just false. He's just making things up.
Okay.
It was 110 LLC registered to a UPS store where there are mailbox. A single member LLC is likely a contractor who uses an LLC for business purposes.
For sure.
And these are the stories.
Okay, I'm not going to tell you, because I haven't looked into this, that he's not wrong. But
He's completely wrong.
I accept.
And so
I accept what you say, but
when Candace,
call him
without
a liar,
vetting,
to call him a liar.
Oh yeah, I'll call him a liar.
It's not about calling him a liar.
Most
He's
importantly-
intentionally manipulating information.
Most importantly, to call Candace a liar, you have to reach. You have to do two things that you cannot do. The first is you have to travel in time, and the second is you have to reach inside her head and see what her thought process was. You
is Candace smart?
You cannot. Are you? Can you seriously doubt it?
I agree that.
Can you seriously doubt that she's not brilliant?
Let me tell you why I default to
I'm gonna
liar.
be really honest with you. I didn't used to think she was brilliant.
I'll tell you why I default to liar. I've met her. I've been on her show. She's been on my show. She's a genius.
Yeah.
She is quick-witted and well-read.
Yeah.
So when she sees someone make a stupid statement like tax forms mysteriously disappeared, there's no way I believe she ignorantly just posted
Have
false
you heard about the
information.
atom bomb? I mean, like, geniuses can make moral mistakes. Geniuses can make research mistakes. In fact,
Let's try this. She thought UTC meant Utah time. She posted her own lawyer's address.
Okay.
In fact, how about this? The feds work at her lawyer's office
It is perfectly normal
for her feds to be working at the same office.
For a big office building to contain multiple companies, and when they do so, lawyers
didn't vet that the cars actually went to the airport.
And when they do so, it is extremely normal for lawyers to share offices with government
She
departments.
did not vet
for the security,
that the planes
for all
at the
kinds of other obvious
airport
reasons.
actually loaded up cars and went to that building. She made that up.
You're not going to hear from me that she's got everything right. I'm not here to say that.
Endless just
clearly,
bullshit.
Clearly, that's not the case. But first of all, I believe that she is motivated by a sincere desire to find out what happened to Charlie Kirk. Second, we don't know. We still don't know, because they are telling untruths about it. I know for a fact, for an absolute fact, that Charlie has not been buried yet. I know for an absolute, incontrovertible fact, he has not been buried yet. Why? Why? When there's no good reason for it. I know for a fact. I'm going to tell you. You know that my faith is sincere. I hope. Right? You know that I. Thanks for leaving that. Thanks for leaving the silence there. No. I hope that you understand that I'm a sincere person. I swear on my Lord boy I lost. I swear, cat, not person, but I swear on God, on the Blessed Mother. I swear on Jesus Christ. I know for an incontrovertible fact that Charlie has not been buried yet. There's no good reason for that. None whatsoever, unless some trickery is afoot. Because, and they're telling people, it's because we're planning to build a giant mausoleum. Well, you put together the biggest political event in the last 100 years in 3 days. Where's the mausoleum, girl? Sorry, no. I know for a fact he has not been buried. He has not been buried.
Okay.
Why? Because people are asking them. They're saying, I want to go pay my respects to Charlie Kirk. I can go visit Nietzsche. I can visit Karl Marx. Why can't I visit Charlie Kirk? Where is he buried? Where is his gravestone? And you better have a damn good reason why he's not buried yet.
Do you have a
theory?
theory?
And I genuinely mean it when I say that I would appreciate and I would prefer it if you were the face of skepticism towards Turning Point USA.
Yeah, but nobody else is doing it. She's the only one. So how dare anybody give her a shit for this? Like, how do anybody give her shit for this?
She's the only one. It's endless.
Yeah.
She is the only one with a massive platform who has devoted. I mean,
Bridget Macron being a man and Blake Lively drama.
Absolutely agree with Bridget Macron. 100%. No.
Wait, you're saying Bridget Macron's a man?
100%. They can have me.
I'm not interested in this.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm not interested in any of where
Oh
this is
my
going.
goodness.
I am not interested.
All right, this stream just gets more and more wild as time goes on. Honestly, though, the conspiracy theories coming out about Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA it's pretty wild. And the right, they're just eating each other alive. It's what it feels like, at least with all of these influencers and social commentators and all of this bullshit. It's like they're just stirring the pot. Right? You have Candace Owens, you have Milo, Tim Fuentes on Steven Crowder's show, all the Tucker Carlson shit. Like the right in America just seems to be eating each other alive, and it's getting pretty wild. I don't know, right? I don't really follow the American stuff because I'm not American. It's not my thing. I just decided to do a fun Sunday special stream covering this, and I followed the Canadian stuff more. And I pop in and out of the American stuff, right? American politics is what got me into politics. But that was back in 2016, 2015. That was back when Milo was actually considered a Trump supporter, as he even said. But now he's gone full turn here, and he's even said that MAGA is dead at this point. I don't think it's dead. It definitely has taken a hit, but I don't think it's dead. Absolutely not. And with all of these commentators just like going off about this, that, and the fourth, it only creates more issues and builds more drama. And nobody knows what to think anymore, right? Everybody has their mind made up. Everybody's got the correct way of thinking. So I don't know. It's just wacky. I just looked at Candace on YouTube search. Yeah. Did Brazil get their money yet? I hope so. I hope Mark Carney wire transferred $6 trillion over to Brazil because they deserve it. Is Brazil in Quebec? Yeah, it might as well be. They talk over each other. That's welcome to these kinds of shows. This isn't like question period where the speaker is gonna yell at you if you speak out or stuff like that. Like they go off, and that's it. Each and every one of these like American political shows or whatever, they're pretty much all the same. Pretty crazy stuff. I don't know, but I'm just here to see what other people have to say. I think it's important to listen to other viewpoints. That way you know that you're not constantly just in an echo chamber. I'm not saying like go out of your way to listen to crazy, insane leftists, but every once in a while it's good to bust out of the echo chamber or whatever you want to call it.
Interested in these people. I am not interested in this industry. I am not interested. And the issue is this. You said before, if I'm not winning, why am I here? That's my point. My point is, if I am not wanted, I don't want to be here.
But you are wanted, and you're more than wanted. You're necessary. But you're getting pissed off because people don't agree with you, and that's not okay.
That's not why I'm pissed off.
Yeah, it is.
No. My motivation for going against Jack Dorsey was not that people didn't agree with me.
I didn't say that. I said no.
In fact, everybody agreed with me.
I said that I admired what you did with him, and I admired what you did with Liquid Death.
This is my point.
I don't love what's happened here. So
and now
I think there's a mistake here.
As there's been an increase in the questions around what Candace is doing, and I have increasingly been critical of what she's doing over the past few months, and she crossed the line with these vague. Listen, I'll put it like this: most of my life, I grew up around the hacking community and computer nerds. And the thing that I focused on was called social engineering. Are you familiar with hackers?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I used to hang out at hackerspaces.
I run security for EA, so yes.
And so I ended up working for nonprofits, doing fundraising. Communications manipulation is the principal function of hacking in general.
Yeah.
Most times, someone's breaking into a computer; they're not actually doing code.
No, they persuaded somebody to give them.
Right. I'm watching Candace do all of the basic components of social engineering.
Hi, this is tech support. Would you mind click on this link so I can share your screen and fix your problem? Yeah.
And Candace Owens is doing the lowest grade, but well done, social assumptive reasoning, manipulation, and it is evil. It's evil.
Okay, so I think it's ridiculous for you earlier on to claim that you're not saying what she's doing is morally wrong, and then to call what she's doing evil. I think it's.
I think it is morally. What do you mean?
Well, you said earlier that you said
no. When I said she talks about her texts with Charlie, I didn't call that evil. I said she's allowed to share text with Charlie, and I said this is an example of a show that's female coded, and a lot of women want to watch.
People will rewind and make their own judgments about that.
And that's what I've consistently said. But I'll tell you what: when I bump into some young men who are Gen Z, and the first thing, so here's what happens: these three young guys. One guy says to me, "Oh, hey, you're the podcast. You're Tim Pool." And then his buddy goes, "Who's he?" And he's like, "He's got a big podcast." And he's like Trump interviewed Trump. The guy then says, "Do you know? Oh, what do you think about Candace?" And I said, "What about her?" And he goes, "She went into hiding because they're trying to kill her." And I said, "You mean she took Thanksgiving off?" But she makes these tweets that resulted in viral posts. She knows she's doing it. when she says, our show is off the air as an update, the White House has confirmed receipt of the plot against me.
You keep claiming interior knowledge of her mental state, which you do not possess and cannot possess.
I am not going to play this game. I am not going to play this game where you're like, well, she's insinuated literally every fucking time some nefarious bullshit, but she didn't explicitly say it, so I'm too stupid. I'm not going to believe it.
I'm not playing a game with you. I'm really not. But I am saying that I have heard you tell people on this show that they cannot have knowledge of somebody else's interior mental state. I've heard you say it. Why do you claim you have it?
That point is specifically about Donald Trump, and my point was, in certain areas, Trump lies about really stupid things.
He does, yeah.
And then when it comes to, high-level foreign policy stuff, he'll get something wrong, but they'll always default to a lie. It might be a lie. It might not be. But the media defaulting to it. Now, the issue is...
You are making my point for me.
No, I'm making the point that when
Candace
makes a tweet that intentionally...
You can't say that.
Right, because if she referenced a tweet that was a lie, but she thinks it's true, she's not lying.
I'm gonna go ahead and say...
I do respect your judgment to a point on this, but you, as a literal matter of objective reality, you cannot know that.
If Donald Trump sometimes lies and sometimes doesn't, my point is we try to parse out when we think he's lying and when we think he's not. And if Candace is doing what is considered to be a basic social engineering...
Going a bit further than that, though, with Candace, though, aren't you?
No.
You are. You're saying what she's doing is evil.
What I think is evil is the big picture.
That somebody...
I'm not talking about a singular action.
That somebody heard a man who... Look, when she put Charlie Kirk's Spotify playlist up, my first thought was, that is not the Spotify playlist of a heterosexual man. My second thought was, why would she... It's just not. It's not. It's Nicki Minaj and Lorde. It's just not. Straight men don't listen to that shit. They just don't.
Let me put it.
Waiting to see if anyone's like, "Hey, I like."
Straight men are not bopping along to Monster.
I bopped to Monster. Let me say this.
The second thing that occurred to me was Candace having the intimate purchase on him that she obviously feels feels at a threat and at risk. Like it's. I know. I've stayed with her down I've been there down in Tennessee. We didn't get on. I have no reason to be nice about Candace. None. She tried to get me fired from Yeezy when she didn't know that I was working in the bus's best interest, okay? She went in hard trying to get Kanye West to fire me, and it was over the course of months. I have no reason to be nice about her. Zero. None.
Let me ask you a question.
But on this issue, I have more sympathy with her than I do with the other side because I see someone, in my view, sincerely searching for the truth. Is everything she says correct? No. Is she carpet bombing the world with lies? Absolutely not.
When she said, this feels like an inside job.
It does.
What does?
It does.
What does?
The conspiracy of silence.
No.
That's my trick on this show, okay? That's my thing.
What's conspiracy
Someone else
of silence?
is like getting to a good point. That's my thing.
Again, like let me point this out.
The astronomically inadequate explanations given, in my view, for the actions before, at, and after Charlie's death, and the behavior afterwards from both the federal government and Turning Point executives.
You think
to say nothing of his deeply, deeply sinister wife.
What? Erica?
No, he's...
How is she sinister? No, Milo, please educate
Genuine
me.
question, do you know?
No, hold on. No, hold on. Please explain to me, how is Erica Kirk sinister?
Have you seen the difference in the size of her hands with Charlie's in their wedding pictures, and then compared it to him in his casket?
Are you saying she's a man?
No, I'm saying that wasn't Charlie in there.
What are you talking? Come on.
I'm saying there's something. There's something up. There's something up.
So you're saying he's hidden?
I'm not saying he's hidden. I'm not saying he's still alive somewhere. I don't know. But his body hasn't been buried. Did they lose it? It happens.
It happens. Do you think there's a possibility that Charlie is alive?
I think it's vanishingly slight. I think it's probably the most.
So you even give it a slight?
Of course, it's possible. And the behavior of some of the Turning Point people makes me wonder. I tweeted today for the first time ever. I didn't name him, but just thinking aloud. Do you think he's still alive?
But you think there's a possibility they faked his death?
Yes.
But then why wouldn't Candace say something more to that degree?
It's probably the most difficult thing to prove.
And so why won't Candace call out Erica?
She has. She not only does she, as she mentioned, I mean, she's done it. Candace is the ultimate master of the tease, right? Now you will say...
Oh, so you're agreeing with me now?
You will say, no. You will say that tease is entirely dishonest, fraudulent, and manipulative and wicked. I think she just is...
It's definitely manipulative, that's for sure. It definitely is. She says a bunch of shit. Tune in next week, or whenever my next show is. Guys, come and pay for my show whenever I do it. Tune in next week. Let me post all this crazy shit on Twitter. Come tune into my show. By the way, you have to pay for it. Or at least I'm pretty sure her show is almost like a pay-per-view style thing. Like, I don't think it's free. There's a premium to it, at least.
Is the master storyteller. The truth perhaps is in the middle.
Agreed.
Maybe the truth is in the middle.
We agree.
But
she's telling stories.
Stories is a news term.
And I know about storytelling.
Stories is a news term, and that's the manner in which I meant it.
So when Ben Shapiro said that she implied Erica killed Charlie, was he wrong?
I think at that time she had not done so. I think later there were comments that I would have to check the chronology, but I think that later there were comments where I'm like, And I read today, and I did not check it out because I'm always 2 or 3 days late catching up her show, although I do watch her religiously. That's the queen. I'm always a couple of days behind watching on the show because I've got stuff going on. But somebody tweeted today that Candace said that she believed that they were about to get a divorce. I think he was gay, I think he was gay. And
come on, you know that I've criticized.
What? Like I'm sorry, Tim, but like, why would you even go there? Like to say something like that?
Oh, I'll tell you why.
No, the man's dead. You're calling now. You think he's gay?
That's when people can talk. That's when people can tell the truth.
I know. I disagree.
That's when people can tell the truth because let me tell you why. Okay, and if you want to read in a vindictive crusade on my part for everything I've just said, you are entitled to do so, and so are the viewers. But I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what Charlie Kirk did to me. Charlie was a very brilliant, very, very brilliant organizer, fundraiser, networker. Those 3 things, phenomenal. Probably the best in the business, maybe. Certainly one of the top 2, 3. Amazing at those things. But he was also very ruthless. He was a very ruthless person who spent a long time excising and excommunicating all of the most interesting people in politics from the right wing. He did it for a decade. Everybody knows it. Nobody said it because it's not polite in the aftermath of his death.
Charlie gave a platform.
Let me finish. He gave a platform to lily-livered, centrist, weak frauds, faggots, and prostitutes, and drag queens. What he also did at that same time.
Well, that can't go on stream. Shit. Oh. My goodness. Milo's gonna get the live stream taken down. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what else comes out of his mouth. I mean, he's going off of what he believes, and I believe what Candace has pretty much also claimed as well.
What he also did at that same time, and anybody in power, what he also did at that same time was systematically extinguish the light of anybody who could not be controlled. And I'm one of them, and I'm going to tell you what happened. When you hear rumors about sexual impropriety about me now, most people are like, yeah, probably true. There's a reason for that. Charlie. When I was at the height of my fame, the height of my popularity, Charlie made up a rumor that I was having sex with children on campuses, underage boys on college campuses, and I was selling them drugs. And he did that because there was no other way they could seize a monopoly on college campuses because I was just so totally dominant. And they didn't have anybody in the influencer line because at that time, Charlie was a really shitty speaker. He got a lot better towards the end. I think he got a lot better man towards the end, honestly. I think having kids really changed him, if I'm honest. But at that time, very ruthless person. And they had nobody that could go up against me. He made up that lie. He forced every Turning Point chapter, and everybody has heard 20 instances where Turning Point has cancelled somebody. Everybody knows 20 times it's happened, all right? Happened to Ashley Sinclair, for God's sake. Happened to most of us, okay? Most of us. You have walked a very fine line, and because of the broadness and because of the mission that you're on, you've escaped the wrath of Turning Point. But if
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Well, oh, no.
They disinvited us.
Little recently. Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's the DNA of the organization. That's what it is. That's what it does. It is a thermostat. A thermostat is a control device. A thermostat's job is to monitor the temperature, and if it gets too hot or too cold, to make an adjustment, to do something to force the temperature.
And why are they losing?
Back where it should be? Because it worked for a very long time, but it did not work in the wake of their most audacious misstep, which is what we don't know about Charlie Kirk's death. There's something, I don't know what it is. I don't know if Candace is right.
Why can't we just accept?
But there's something. Now let me tell you this.
I
have Charlie on tape telling chapter presidents that if they book me, and this is 2016, 2017, okay? If they book me, he will dissolve their chapters. And he did it on the basis of an outrageous, utterly untrue lie. I was married by then. I was like so stupid. I was completely in love with that guy. I have a completely faithful marriage. It was utterly untrue, and he used it to extinguish me on campuses. I was cancelled immediately after Berkeley, so it looks like I went out at the height of my fame. But as you know, there's a lag, right? And I had a tour booked up to Berkeley, but for 9 months prior to that, I couldn't get booked anywhere. I was, because the smart thing to do when you're like that is to book next year now, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't book anywhere. And I found out, and I have evidence, I have the tapes, more than one, that he made up that lie to seize a monopoly on college campuses. And it worked. And he told people that I was having sex with underage students and that I was selling them drugs. Now, I can understand why I might buy drugs from a student, so it was a particularly stupid lie, although I didn't. I can understand why, I'm not going to tell you I didn't have a line of Adderall at a frat party. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm sure I did. I know I did. I remember I did. I remember doing it. But never in a million years did any money change hands for anything like that. And never in a million years did I have any sexual contact with any student at any university on my tour. You can't produce one. Nobody's ever been able to. But Charlie told everybody that that's what I was doing on my bus tour. And so when, we talk about this, when we lionize this figure, it's important to remember what we're doing. Charlie Kirk was very effective for Trump, no question. And the reason I didn't go after Charlie, and you know what I'm like, the reason I didn't go after Charlie, to tell you the truth, is that I thought he was a net positive for the country. And I thought he was valuable to Trump. I didn't think it was in anybody's interest to do so. And I was like, I guess you would say I was biding my time, right? And I tweeted once, don't ever stop being useful, Charlie. But that lie fed into the lie they told later, or the mischievous or malicious edit of whatever, and started what became my excision from public life. It cost me hundreds of millions of dollars.
Have you heard what I've said?
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Have you heard what I've said about Turning Point?
Yes, they've come for you now too.
No. Hold on.
Well, just a moment ago, but
specifically,
I don't recall your whole.
And I've done this it's probably appeared in Axios and the Washington Post and maybe the Daily Mail at this point. Mm-hmm. They are attempting to reorient around Bush-era republicanism.
True.
Neoconservative.
True.
And this means they have to excise coalition members on the right.
True.
And let me
now you're getting to the good stuff, because now you're seeing that.
And let me go on. I went to I got a call from Andrew Colvett, and he asked me if I could come out and co-host Charlie's show, and I said it's really hard to do. The only way we can do it is if we do Timcast from Turning Point like we've done before.
You know, they had to zip tie his chair to the desk so none of the people left would sit in his chair. Did you know that?
Wow. Let me tell you this.
Because every single bitch there was
trying to
desperate to leap into his chair. They zip-tied his chair to the table.
Let me tell you what happened.
Because Andrew Colvett would have been in that chair faster than you can say.
Let me tell you what happened. All right. So
ask him right now.
Not literally. So let me
go ask everybody at Turning Point. Go to that desk and take a photo of it right now.
Maybe they zip-tied it in the last month or something.
Maybe the zip tie is going to come off any second, but they zip-tied it the week he died, within 48 hours of his death.
I have also heard the same thing.
I was standing there touching the chair. I don't remember.
So let me tell you, Milo. Let me finish.
You've heard it too.
Yeah, from several people.
Right, me too.
Let me tell you what happened. So we went down, and I did my morning show in Arizona. We did Timcast IRL from Turning Point, and we did I did Charlie's show, and then we combined Thought Crime with Timcast. And when we were there, I asked Colvett and another guy, what's the plan for AmFest, right? We've done the same slot for 3 years in a row. They bring us out.
I assume that you paid them quite a lot of money.
No. It was,
they invite you?
Yeah.
I'm not paid.
We've never paid to be there.
I don't mean to say that to cast aspersions.
Right.
But with Turning Point, usually money is changing hands one way.
You pay to be on stage for a lot of these people.
Right.
But
we don't need to do that. But I'm just
we were considered to be one of their
core media partner or something, right?
No, a big get. Right. For Charlie, the idea was we have a more moderate urban liberal audience that shifted rightward. And he wanted coalition, right?
I would imagine, well, I know that a large slice of your audience comes from the Gamergate metal hinterland, with the music that that you both like, and with the kind of online nerd culture and certain pockets that that maybe drifted right over the last 15 years.
Yes.
You got a lot of
So my understanding from what Charlie said, from what Andrew said, is that Charlie valued the audience we have because it was an audience they couldn't reach.
Correct. Yeah.
So us being on stage was valuable to them.
Absolutely correct.
So when I asked them,
how would Turning Point ever reach Ian?
Exactly.
And they'd thrive every time.
And so let me finish. Let me finish. 'Cause I'm curious your thoughts on all this. I'll tell you where we're at.
I'm interrupting.
And I'll give a little bit of the more nitty gritty details on everything that's going on because I'm kind of just a little jaded. But so while we were there, this is the beginning of October. I asked them what the plan was for AmFest, and they said nothing's changed. The plan is the same.
Yep.
And I said, okay, fantastic. Andrew said, it is rough, because you guys are on stage for a long time. I said, anything you need from us to accommodate, we can shorten the show. I understand it's rough now with Charlie. It's a bit chaotic.
Who would say anything else?
So 2 weeks go by. My booker, Lisa's reaching out to them, and I'm texting.
Shout out, Brabunis.
And we're told, we'll get back to you. I texted Jack Posobiec and Colvett, and Colvett doesn't respond. And Jack texts back saying, I talked with Andrew. He says, give him a bit. He's working on it. And then finally, it was three. I think it was three. What was it? On Tuesday, I put up the video saying we're not going. So it was the Friday before then when I had made a video saying what Candace is doing is. I had said on IRL.
It's okay.
What this is part of the story. I said what she has been doing is demoralizing, because right now the focus is.
I don't completely disagree with that.
The focus that I'm looking at for news is there's this coalition. I don't consider myself to be anyone's leader or anything. I'm a guy who complains on the internet. But how are we going to win these midterms? And the Virginia defeat, all of these stuff, people are getting blackpilled. People are turning out of politics. And then she starts doing this mystery style, true crime-ish show. Right. I called it demoralizing that she's making insinuations of Turning Point because Turning Point united these coalitions. I get a message from Colvett, and I guess we'll go full bore and I'll just spill all of the beans.
Actually, I probably shouldn't have said the zip tie thing, so let's do it.
Yeah, he basically said he hits me up saying it's a rock and a hard place. I'm paraphrasing. If they
to book one of their longest term supporters.
No, that's not what he's talking about. I got a text about if Turning Point decides to actually engage Candace because they did, it blows up in their face. And so I called him and I talked to him and said, listen, right, I'm not doing this for anybody. My opinions are my opinions. I was like, I don't know what you guys have going on or what you should or shouldn't do, blah, blah, blah. And the general idea was in the conversation is like, when Candace came out and said, here are text messages from Charlie, and he came out the next day immediately and said, yes, we gave them to law enforcement, it blew up in their face.
Yes.
The story got 100 times worse.
Yes.
And so they immediately recoiled and said, okay, there's nothing we can say to convince anybody of anything, so let's just not say anything. That was the general concept. At the end of that conversation, I said, look, I got to get back to recording. It is what it is. And he goes, listen, because of the hurtful things you said, we weren't planning on having you here this year. But if you still wanted to come, would you be open to doing it? And I said, of course. And he's like, okay, it's a heavy lift. Let me see if I can make it happen.
It's a big undertaking for you.
So let me tell you where we go from here. So I get off the phone with him and I said, so he explicitly just told me that the past months of hold on, we're working on it was literally, actually, we already filled your slot and we weren't going to invite you and we didn't tell you.
Yes.
So
that's how they work.
I was a bit pissed.
They do that to suspend criticism.
So what happens is,
like Fox hires people
come Monday,
nations, who might otherwise be a threat to marquee talent.
So come Monday, I have also at the same time got a request from the World Poker Tour, and they asked if I would like to be involved in one of their promotional influencer streams with a bunch of high-profile personalities.
Yep.
I said we're going to be at AmFest on the 18th and 19th, so that means I can only be there. I said it's on the 17th. I said okay, that works. We'll drive from there, but we have to do Timcast IRL from this place. Do you have a studio? They said, yes, we do. When do you need it? I said, well, we're not confirmed for AmFest yet. Colvett says he's working on it. Let me see if I can get a confirmation from them so I can tell you when we need the studio. Colvett responds to Lisa saying, we are full. That's the issue. We are working on it, though. And he said, that's the answer you get at any point at this time. So here's what I said. Sorry. So immediately, when I get this message midday, I get pissed.
Cool.
Because I'm saying, you're full. Okay, it's Monday. I got to give these guys in Vegas an answer. If they didn't want to have me there, that's fine.
But it costs money to lead people on like this. It's enormously shitty behavior.
And we then and now we're booking late. So at this point, I'm like, I can't even get hotels for my staff. The prices are going to be really high. It's a bitch.
Yep.
So at this point, I said, Lisa, like, what's going on? She's like, here's what he said. They're working on it. And I said, no.
We're out. Yeah.
So I'm a nice guy. So I hit up Jack Posobiec. I hit up Benny Johnson. I hit up a couple other people. And I said, guys, I'm not coming. Okay. I don't want to be a dick to any of you. Whatever. You don't need me there. And the general response was, no. Hold on. We're going to figure something out. I said, no. At this point, if this is the managerial decisions that Turning Point had made up to this point, I have no problem not being invited. It's not my party. But understand, for months, we've been asking.
You've been let on.
I've been texting.
You were let on.
So I immediately reached out to WPT and said, guys, we're on for the full week. And we've booked some very high-profile guests that are going to be on the show. And we won't be going to AmFest. And then I made a video. And after I do, my phone blows up from Turning Point, people being like, no, why would you do that? And here's what I'll say.
This is what they do.
The only reason they led me on was because they didn't want me to make a video saying we weren't going to be going there.
What I just said, yeah.
So they waited until it was the very last minute.
Yes, yeah.
Then, when they come back and say, you know what, Tim, we've changed our mind, you can come, it's putting me in a position where it's too difficult to do and I have prior commitments.
And why should you do that if you spent $1 based on their deliberate admitted lies?
So there's a few things
people
that I have
would
to consider.
never lie about there's
a few things
to Charlie, for instance.
There's a few things I have to consider, and that's I am not going
very
to
honest
now.
people. You should trust them over Candace for sure.
I don't trust her either. But I'm not.
I mean, clearly, you should trust them over Candace.
And the funny thing is, I was saying this before, or at the same time, I'm criticizing Candace. My point is that now, what am I going to do? Am I going to take them up on their invite, spend extra money, show up? Of course not. Now, I have friends. I think Jack Posobiec is a really good guy. He's a good friend. He's a friend of the show.
And it's worth saying about Jack also that he is on the periphery of Turning Point. They've never offered him an official position. He doesn't work for them. He's not paid by them. He's one of their. He's close. He's close with them, but he's still classified because I do know Jack as well a little bit, and he's still classified merely as an influencer of theirs, merely as an ambassador or something, right?
They have since come out and they don't continually
pay
offered to bring us out, make something work, and I've said no.
Absolutely right.
I'm not interested.
Absolutely right.
I
have some dignity, like no.
Well, I'll tell you my emotional state right now. Mm-hmm. I think that I've had a lot of conversation with high-profile business people in the podcasting space, big CEOs.
Yeah.
And you know what they all say? They say, Tim, if you say what we want you to say, you'll be the biggest show in the country.
I've had those conversations.
You have the work ethic.
A long time ago, but yes.
Like your ability to talk off script and just nail these points.
Yep.
Let us guide you with guardrails.
I know that what you're saying is absolutely factually true because 10 years ago I had the same conversations with some of the same people.
And my response is I'm not interested in that.
Good for you, man.
And
Good for you.
So it's no surprise.
My faith in you was not misplaced.
It's no surprise that we get.
He didn't phone it in.
What are you saying?
You love saying that people phoned it in. He didn't phone it in.
I forgot. I forgot you were here. What are you saying?
Fuck you.
So let me put Milo. Let's. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm really happy to hear that, bro.
I don't care about the cameras right now. I'm actually really enjoying this conversation with you.
Me too.
Yeah, this feels cathartic.
Me too. Yeah, I can tell. This is a different tone from some of the frustration I've heard you express in the rest of the week, and me too, by the way, because nobody really knows what I think about anything. So
let me burn every bridge I can and Elmo in the fire. How about that?
Well, don't do it just because I'm here, but
no, it's because this is my current emotional state. The first thing I'll say about what these producers and these CEOs come to me and they say, Tim, you say too much. Right? A year ago, I went on my show and said, I want to quit. I'm sick of this shit, blah, blah, blah. And they said, are you an idiot?
All right. So that pretty much does it for like the main stuff that I've already seen and just wanted to kind of go briefly over. The rest of it is lame Tim Pool. I want to quit my job and live in a van by the river. Okay, then go do it. Nobody's stopping you. Before I end the stream, we're gonna do a little palate cleanse here. Let's see. Gonna grab the most recent video, or this one right here, that works. Switch this over to that view and bring that down. We'll get right into it.
So we're not talking about people who are asking for MAID. We're talking about people seeking unrelated public services who are having MAID proposed to them, offered to them.
What Pierre just did is brilliant. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Pierre Poilievre putting forward an opposition motion which is going to force Mark Carney's hand. We also got some new findings within one of Carney's bills, which is absolutely draconian. We've got more wasteful spending, a bunch of other stuff here. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we got Shreya Teest with this. So it says Liberals lead the Acadia Yiannopoulos. This is Chris d'Entremont's riding here. So he did get a bump after this, a small bump. So maybe there were some people who were on the fence voters that followed Chris d'Entremont over to the Liberals. This is very sad to see. You can see the polling data. He won with 47.5% on the Conservatives, and now is polling at 52% for Liberals for Chris d'Entremont in this riding. Conservatives down to 37%, but we don't have an election right now, so this doesn't really mean anything. I know all of you, as much as I want to see Chris d'Entremont tossed to the curb. Moving ahead, we got this one from Blacklock's reporter. It says Shared Services Canada urged managers to cancel coffee breaks for a month in empathy with employees fasting for Ramadan. Department counted 100 Muslims among 9,400 staff. Be respectful. What is this? If you don't like how Canada is, then, well, there's Muslim countries that have...
Yeah, exactly. How about... No. How about that? How about... Fuck off? How does that sound?
Muslim values. This is the ultimate question here. Will Shared Services Canada urge the Muslims to give up something for Lent to respect Christians? Just asking. Are those 100 Muslims of 9,400 staff going to support other staff celebrating Christmas? You have to have it both ways. Obviously, this is not what's going on. Our government's corrupt. We've got Mark Nixon posting this one. The debate commissioner, Michel Cormier, this guy's job is solely just dealing with the debates that happen every few years with the elections. With the Trudeau Liberal era here, we essentially had 3 different elections. We have French and English, so essentially 6 debates, and this guy's job ranges from $160,000 to $190,000 per year, and all he does is coordinate stuff for the debate every few years. So essentially he's doing jack squat all the entire rest of the time.
Order in Council pointed, as I understand it, the range that...
Nearly $200,000 a year. Might as well be giving that to Brazil.
The Order in Council stipulated was $160,000, I believe, to $190,000. Does your salary for your part-time job fall within that range?
Yes,
okay.
but I'm not paid the full amount. I'm paid for 2 days a week.
Okay. So your commission hosts a meeting a week. What else do you do?
We after each debate, we actually do consultations. We just published a report that is required by our mandate. We prepare for the next debates. We review the...
Yeah, so consultations, prepare for the next debate in 3 years or 4 years or whatever, 2 years. This guy doesn't have a real job. He's just getting paid a crap ton of money to do diddly squat. He says he works 3 days a week. And Mark Nixon, doing the math here, at $175,000 a year, $1.2 million for just 6 debates, or $200,000 per debate, and say he's only getting paid for 3 days a week. Even if you chop that down, $160,000 per debate, it doesn't matter. It's stupid.
I'm just having trouble understanding what exactly it is you do here. Because we have a situation in which if the Leaders Debates Commission were to go away right now, and there was no commission in 2015, it wouldn't mean we would have no debates. In 2015, there was a Maclean's debate, there was a Globe and Mail debate. We had no shortage of debates. And I believe it was another committee, previously heard testimony from Paul Wells, who was involved with the Maclean's debate, who I believe said they could have had 60 of their debates for the price that your organization did one. So why is this necessary, and why is it necessary even between elections to have this commission?
Maybe you should put that question also to the government, you know.
Oh, what a weak answer. If you can't justify your own job here, then you need to be fired. This whole commission needs to be fired. Waste of money. These freeloaders are just sucking taxpayer money here and essentially doing nothing.
We execute the mandate that we're given with the resources that we're given.
This is a nothing burger. I'm so sick and tired of this wasteful spending. They just flush our money down the drain. Meanwhile, our citizens are suffering. We got this one here. This is brilliant. Pierre Poilievre announces this. So we need a new pipeline. He's going to be introducing a new motion here from the opposition. It says on Tuesday, House of Commons will vote on a conservative motion for new pipeline to the Pacific, overriding the tanker ban to ship.
That's not going to pass. That's not going to pass. Look, I love the fact that the Conservatives are trying, and they're going to bring up all these motions. They're going to do all these things in their power to try and fix Canada. I appreciate it. The Liberals don't want to remove the tanker ban. The NDP sure as hell aren't going to remove the tanker ban. And the Bloc, over the past 3 weeks, have gone full environmental crazy. They are not removing the tanker ban. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. And if they do, my God, that would be a miracle. But it's just not gonna happen. So, the Conservatives need a majority to do anything. They're not gonna have any support from any other party. The fucking Green Party isn't gonna support them. Alright? Like, none of these people are gonna come to their aid for a motion like this.
Bitumen to Asia. And what he's doing here is he's using language from the MOU. It says, take note of the Memorandum of Understanding between Canada and Alberta, supports construction of one or more pipelines. He's using the same language here. At least 1 million barrels a day, low emissions Alberta bitumen from a strategic deep water port. Goes on to say it needs to consult Indigenous, etc. He's using the same language, so they can't turn this down. If they do, it'll look awful. It'll basically disarm Carney's Alberta MOU. Brilliant. We got this bombshell news here coming.
And they will turn it down. This isn't gonna be some groundbreaking piece of legislation that they bring forward. The Liberals have already shown time and time again they are not willing to work with anybody else in the House. And that's it. Their closest ally was Elizabeth May, and even they turned their back on her. Like, that's where they're at right now. Their own caucus and cabinet is cracking and falling apart. They're not going to vote on this. They're not going to pass it. No matter what language Poilievre uses, they're not willing to work with them.
Coming from the Toronto Star, Mark Carney is quietly giving sweeping new powers to his ministers. This is some seriously draconian stuff. It says hidden in the federal government's 634-page omnibus bill C-15, the Budget Implementation Act, is a measure that has so far escaped scrutiny. Goes on to say Carney plans to grant any cabinet ministers the power to exempt any individual company from any federal law on the books. So this would apply to any minister within their own portfolio. They could just hide, essentially, a company's actions. This could be environmental regulations. This could be stuff that Brookfield's doing. That's why this is in here. So Brookfield can hide what they're doing. They could bypass certain regulations, say regarding nuclear technology, oil and gas, carbon capture, you name it. Goes on to say the measure wasn't included in the version of the Liberals' November 4th budget that was given to reporters. It was not discussed in the government speeches in Parliament about this bill. They just snuck it in afterwards. They should be thrown out of power for this kind of garbage. No Canadian in Canada should stand for this. Some other examples of this. So Mark Carney knows Bob Rennie here. Remember, he said, I'm working with Carney. He could allow certain companies, say Bob Rennie's company, to bypass certain regulations with real estate, building complexes, big construction projects. They could do it for Algoma Steel. They could do it for Brookfield. They could do it for any number of companies. And Canadians wouldn't know. This is some seriously messed up stuff. So the good news is the Conservatives, all parliamentarians know about this now. Elizabeth May was pissed off about this. This will get cut out. They're not going to let this pass. Whether it's the auto industry, steel, aluminum, all these industries getting hammered. The forestry industry is now on the brink as well.
Like this moving line at his Shemana sawmill, Paul Belkin says the forest industry depends on...
All right, I'm not entirely interested in watching whatever news organization this is talk about the most obvious shit in the world, that the lumber industry isn't doing well. Like, the lumber industry was under attack in the Joe Biden administration, and it's even worse now because the Liberals are just so incompetent. It just has bled over. Like, nothing this government will do will fix anything. I just don't believe it for a second. They can dump billions of dollars into all of these industries to try and keep them afloat. It's not going to change anything. They can try and diversify to other markets. It won't equal out to the Americans. They're single-handedly destroying the country. They just are.
with this one. It says, breaking, the Liberals approve 84% increase in federal executives making over $150,000 a year. Canadians are cutting back on groceries, rent, basic essentials. Families are struggling. The middle class is shrinking. Meanwhile, the government keeps rewarding itself. And as we see here, 2024 to 25, we got now 12,971 people making over $150,000 per year. And it's across the board here. You can see over $200,000. It jumped back from around 500 up to 1,000, so it doubled. We've got this one up over 250,000. It jumped from 62 up to 220. Over 300,000 jumped from 34 to 82, and then went from 1 to 3 for over $400,000. But even at the base level, 4,000 people were making over $150,000 in the government. Now it's 13,000 people. This is costing us a lot of money. And what are we getting? Things are not getting better. Are we getting value for money? No, we're not. Clearly. Next up, we got Conservative Garnet Gendis here, grilling the Liberals here on the MAID program.
The UN has found that Track 2 MAID violates the rights of people with disabilities. Krista Carr from Inclusion Canada has testified that MAID is regularly raised with people with disabilities who are accessing unrelated public services. Inclusion Canada hears complaints about this on a weekly basis, according to their testimony before the Finance Committee. Are you concerned about Krista Carr's testimony and the UN's findings in this regard?
What I would say is...
Oh, it's Patty. Don't expect an honest answer. Here we go.
That medical assistance in dying is a deeply personal issue. And certainly we have heard from the disability community their concerns around medical assistance in dying. We've also heard from many other Canadians about the need to have relief from irremediable suffering. And that is...
I guess, Minister, if I can just add some precision to the question. Krista Carr's testimony was about people who have disabilities and are seeking unrelated public services. So we're not talking about people who are asking for MAID. We're talking about people seeking unrelated public services who are having MAID proposed to them, offered to them. And I wonder if you think that's acceptable.
So, Mr. Chair, my job as Minister of Jobs and Families is to make sure that people with disabilities have every opportunity to participate in society that people without disabilities have. So I'm responsible for the Accessibilities Act. I'm responsible for the Opportunities Fund.
She doesn't want to answer the question. What's happening here is this is getting pushed on so many people who don't ask for this. They're just asking for some help. And yet the Liberals are like, here, try the MAID program. That'll solve your problems.
But Minister, again, if I can just clarify, the issue we're talking about is people coming, seeking other public services. So people interacting with government who have disabilities. And there have been reports repeatedly raised by Inclusion Canada and other stakeholders about people trying to access those services. And you, as the person who's supposed to be a champion for Canadians with disabilities around the cabinet table, I think should be seized with this. I mean, do you think it's a problem that people trying to access unrelated public services are having people representing government in positions of authority repeatedly offering them something they're not looking for in this regard? Is that a problem?
If there is a non-medical professional offering medical assistance in dying, then that would be completely out of scope for the legislation. This is something that is a deeply personal decision between a medical provider.
I'm glad you said that. I mean, because this is what Krista Carr has said at the Finance Committee.
Listen, I have no reason to doubt any witness. I would would like to know details.
She would like to know details. Yeah, okay. This is a joke. This is a clown show we've got here. They've been offering this stuff to numerous people, veterans, people with disabilities who just needed some help. The government's just like, try the MAID program. It's deplorable. It's Chris Shell.
Yeah, and I've seen posts online from people, and they're like promoting it and saying how it's this great thing, and I'm thinking like, why don't we help the people instead? You know, why are we offering this? This is just terrible. Let's not find a solution to their current problem. Let's just offer them assistance in dying. Let's just euthanize them. It's absolutely insane.
Shelley, more alarming statistics about medical assistance in perishing. Most, I don't know if I can say this E word, most people ending requests from people clearly not dying came from disadvantaged people, as in not people with terminal illnesses, but people in poverty. And that's exactly what this article says. A recent report from Ontario Coroner's Medical Assistance in Perishing MAID committee made a few ripples. It properly should have made waves. It found significant socioeconomic differences between those receiving the ending treatment under track 1, which is those who have a terminal illness, and track 2 are just those who are in poverty and life is terrible, but don't have a terminal illness. Track 1, track 2. The committee found that 48.6% of ending people recipients under track 2, people not already perishing, don't have terminal illness, lived in most marginalized areas of the province, as opposed to 41.8% of track 1, so people with a terminal illness. A Western University study looked at all the ending requests in London, Ontario between June 2016 and December 2019 and found the rate of request among those living in the poorest area of the city had nearly 3 times higher than those in the wealthiest areas. I'm not surprised by that. Poverty is driving people. I already know this. I get emails all the time. I'm mortified of the idea of many people sending me emails and knowing how hard things are and then wondering if they're still alive today. When age and labor force participation were factored in as measures of disadvantage, the review committee's numbers were even starker. 57% of track 2 requests were made by those in the lowest, most disadvantaged quintile, as opposed to 42% of track 1. For working people, 57% were making requests versus 42% of people with terminal illnesses. That's not necessarily shocking. Poor Canadians have higher rates of chronic and terminal illness, but crucially, this is not what researchers have found in other jurisdictions. It goes on to talk about some other countries here, and then it talks about Sophia, a 51-year-old woman who received MAID for multiple chemical sensitivities, a perceived extreme intolerance to atmospheric contaminants. In Sophia's case, cigarette smoke and chemical cleaners that clearly caused great mental suffering, but that doesn't seem to be an actual disease. I have the same thing. I'm very sensitive to a lot of things, including chemical cleaners and cigarette smoke. For want of a suitable apartment, something many perfectly healthy and reasonably well-off Ontarians struggle with nowadays, Sophia chose to perish in 2022. The government sees me as expendable trash, a complainer, useless, and a pain in the butt, Sophia said in a video. She goes on to say that her psychiatrist proactively suggested that she be ended for his diagnosis of inflammatory bowel disease with aggravating factors including a history of mental illness, previous episodes of wanting to end herself, and ongoing stumbling juice and other substance abuse. She had some problems, but she didn't have life-threatening illness, terminal illness. She needed help. And what happened? The government's like, here, why don't you take this little pokey, we'll put you to sleep and you'll be gone forever. That's what our government is pushing on us. They're not just taking out ostriches, they're taking out Canadians. This is disgusting. This whole situation is disgusting and deplorable. This whole program should be used very, very sparingly. This shouldn't be like, oh, having a bad day, come get some aid, see you later. That's what the government is doing to us. I mean, look at this pamphlet. Somebody reposted this. I don't even want to read this out, but you can see here, there's no words for this. Made for children and teens. One of the greatest health systems in question. Yeah, so much for a great healthcare system. Take your shot and see you later. That's the healthcare in Canada now. I don't know how any minister of health, past or present in the Liberal government, can look themselves in the mirror and think that they're doing a good job.
Alrighty, that is going to do it for today's live stream. A brief glimpse into the Milo Tim Pool stuff. By the way,
welcome back here on Live Now from Fox.
A crazy one that literally I just saw this video, I guess yesterday. Tim Pool's house was like shot at in a drive-by shooting or something like that. This is an update that was posted like 30 minutes ago, roughly. But it happened yesterday. So we literally watched his stream, and then this happens, I guess, yesterday. So crazy stuff. Absolutely wild.
And we are following a developing story that we have been tracking here for a little more than 24 hours after a shooting. Gunshots fired there at the home of Tim Pool, who, of course, is known as a big political commentator with millions upon millions of fans on different social media platforms. Now,
I didn't know that even happened. That is pretty crazy because, yeah, he's very active on social media. Very much so. Anyway, that is going to do it for today's live stream. Hopefully you enjoyed the craziness that ensued. I will be live tomorrow for question period, roughly 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, that's going to do it for today. Have a great rest of your day or night, depending on where you are from. Adios, everyone.
I do want to start from the beginning here because we heard from Pool on social media Saturday as he gave the initial information saying, a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to